Hello, and welcome to the Conscious Communion podcast, where we traverse through the inner dwellings of the human experience through conversation. I'm your host, Danae. Join me as we explore the interconnection of creativity and community. Hello, and welcome to a very special episode with the Conscious Communion and my dear sweet friend, Antha. Antha is an incredible, grounded healer in so many ways, but really she emphasizes her work in inner child healing, energy work. She is a sound medicine master, and she is kind with beyond borders. And she is also a published author. This evening, she just made me a beautiful dinner, and we just were able to ground down in her beautiful home. And so here we are landing in space together just to share a little bit about your story and how you've arrived to this moment. You're also the owner of Late Breakfast. You created it from the ethers, and you are also the co-founder of Black Moon. Can you share a little bit about Black Moon just so we can get a good feel of what it is?
Yes. So Black Moon is a collective of healers. It's also a shop that we are now just bringing into existence. And we're going to have all of our magic, all of our wares, all of our products just available for folks, and just really wanting to create the space of community and just deep listening, deep learning, and just deep loving in all the ways.
So good. Yes. And it's been such a journey. I learned today that Antha is a published author, and really found it so interesting that what you published has become this beautiful fruition of the work that you're now doing. Mm-hmm. I'd love for you to just share a little bit about that, because I think it's such a catalyst for where you are today and this work that you are sharing with everyone who gets to witness it.
Yes. So my thesis is about the connection between social support, self-stigma, and productivity, and just being able to really talk about mental health in the workplace and the importance of that. And so I wrote this back in 2019, and it really feels like I told the future, because really being able to talk about mental health, especially, and just what the past years have brought, and being able to bring your full self to work has become so crucial, and always has been crucial, but hasn't always been seen as such. And as I was working on this thesis back in 2019, it was almost hard to find a company that wanted to talk about it, or that was open to talk about it, or even wanted to ask their employees about it. And now it's just being able to see the way that people are starting to be able to bring their full selves to work in some situations. Mm-hmm. It just is yes, this is more of this, please. Because it's so needed.
So needed.
Yeah. And just the way that I wrote this thesis in 2019, before I even had started any part of this healing journey, it just feels it just feels so divine. And that this idea came to me that it's wait, we need to be able to talk about our mental health. We need to be able to bring our full self to these places where we spend so much of our time, and recognizing that when that isn't the case, that it really has an impact on us.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really does. And I think knowing that in 2020, there was a huge precipice of us really leaning into work-life balance and discovering, so much of that for ourselves has also then led to people like yourself who were working in a 9-to-5 / corporate industry, who have then looked towards something that was, that was really fulfilling their cup, and that led them towards their passion, to then creating something that feels of energetic alignment. And that's where you're at today.
Yeah.
Creating what your soul calls to. And I'm so, so proud of you. This has been a very new journey. You just left your job only about a month ago.
1 month ago.
One month ago. And so now you're really balancing the energetic act of what it's like to now be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So what has that been like for you?
Yes, it has been, it's been so freeing, just being able to let my ideas flow, being able to feel into all these ideas. But then on the flip side, it's also realizing all these habits that I've had for so long of feeling like I have to fit everything into one day, have to like from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I have to do this. And then from like 2 p.m. to 4, I do this, and 4 to 5, this. And like scheduling and like micromanaging my day in this way that just stressful. And so it's like, as I've been shifting into just really like leaning into being an entrepreneur, it's been just like, okay, I get to actually control my day. I get to like decide what feels good to me. I get to commit to designing my schedule and my life in a way that actually feels gentle and feels slow and gives me time and space to like really do what I want to do and do it in the way that I want to do it.
Absolutely. And it represents exactly all that you stand for and all that you represent with the work that you're bringing forward. So I'm sure that's like just this energetic reciprocity that you get to pour into to then cultivate for the people that share your medicine with you.
Yes. And that has been a thing that I have been so strict with myself. Strict isn't the right word, but more of having like a firm boundary around with myself is that I don't want to work on anything with late breakfast that I'm like feeling stressed around. I don't want to feel like I have to finish this thing right now, because that's just not the energy of late breakfast.
No.
It just isn't.
And no, it is not the late breakfast way. And I know, you know, the name and kind of like where that was birthed from. But would you share just where that was birthed from? Because I think that it just adds a little bit more flavor to exactly how it's not of exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah. So late breakfast came from my favorite way of spending my morning is having late breakfast. That's like a day that I can feel that I'm so in my self-care. I'm so just able to relax and take a slow morning. And that's where I was inspired by the name. So I was like, that's what self-care means to me. Like having breakfast at like 3 in the afternoon and just getting to really relax and like spend the day how I want. That doesn't mean that I haven't been up earlier. I might be painting. I might be just relaxing. Who knows? But just something about having like breakfast in the afternoon is just soothing to the soul.
Totally. Like moseying through your day, like lollygagging, right? Taking your sweet time. Yeah. And it's not, I love the idea of just flowing through your day with still just choosing what you want to do. It doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. It's not necessarily that you're laying in bed. Maybe it is.
Sometimes it is.
But sometimes it's like waking up, meditating, painting, and just flowing through it and still having that late breakfast.
Exactly. It's the way.
And so when late breakfast was birthed, did that kind of initiate the beginning process of how you were creating these workshops for people? I know that you create workshops for inner child healing and really, you know, you create spaces for people to be able to witness what it's like to have a relationship again with their inner child. So where was that birth from? How did that kind of get brought into the mix of late breakfast?
Yeah, so it was in 2020. It was actually when I started late breakfast. Like I started making candles because I literally was just going through these Target candles like and was like, I'm feeling I should make it myself. And so I decided to give it a try and then just absolutely loved it. It's like the way that I feel about making candles, it just feels like making soup, but at the end you have a candle. It's a lot of stirring, a lot of pouring, a lot of seeing what smells right. And that's how it began. I just realized like, oh, these slow activities, this feels really good. And then from there is when I had started meditating, and it really just like first began even just like understanding what meditation is, doing Reiki training, and then eventually doing a program that learned about inner child healing. And I was like, wow, my inner child has been missing me and I have been missing her too. And there's something so beautiful about just making things with your hands that feels so inner child to me, of just like, yes, I just get to experiment, I get to play, try new scents, and just any way that I'm able to really connect with my inner child just really feels so sweet.
Nourishing.
Yes.
And it's this, I think what's so beautiful about inner child work is that we really get to be with our 6-year-old self, our 8-year-old self, and reintegrate these things that maybe we didn't get to have when we were 6 or 8, and love on those things.
Yeah. and also help process those things. Because there's there are things that like came up on the playground. You're like, that really hurt, but I didn't have the tools to like tell someone about it. I didn't have the tools to like even just express myself, and just like so giving my like younger self a space to be expressed, to be like, yeah, that was not okay, and you didn't deserve that, and we can also like release and just like not let those moments really like keep their hold on us. Yeah.
Keep their hold on us. I think that that's so important. It's the alchemization of those hard places where we get to find more spaciousness that then creates more energetic flow for whatever. Pardon me. No, goodness, I gotta cut that out. I've never burped. We had that yummy meal. Yes. Yeah, it's the alchemization that we get to kind of bring forth into those places, and it's exactly what you're creating. Yes. So I just really, I honor you in that for holding that kind of space, because I know you hold it with reverence, and yet for others, it can be really challenging. So you're holding space for people to hold hard things.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing with inner child work too, is that like sometimes our inner child does not want to talk to us. Like the first approach, they're like, where have you been? Where have you been for all these years? And so it's like this slow process too of like learning to like let them trust us, and also us learning to trust them, because they have so much wisdom. They hold so much wisdom that's just like deep within us, but also can be so locked away.
Such a good word. Such a good word. Being patient. It's, you know, I'm over at Antha's house, and she has a cat who is so cute. She doesn't want me to touch her.
No.
And so it's like a slow graze. It's that slow process of really treating ourselves so kindly and like edging into those uncomfortable places that may not want to be seen. Just like you would a little kitty that doesn't want to see you or meet you. Gently, gently. And so that also brings in, I believe, just your incredible ability to create music as medicine. You are truly so gifted. And in the summer, on the summer solstice, I had the pleasure of being right next to you for a sound bath, and was literally taken to the ethers and just was so mesmerized by the beautiful music that you created. And so where did that journey begin? Like, how did that start for you? What was calling you when you found your sound, your everything that you do?
Yeah, it's so funny. I feel like sound found me. Because when I think back, it was like, when did that journey begin? Yeah. I don't even know. But it was funny because I think I had done an online sound bath. That was it. And I was like, wow, this is really beautiful and really transformative. And I was like, I would love to learn to like play the singing bowls myself. And then my friend Brianna, who has a Let's Make That bonus, she was offering a sound healing mentorship. And I was like, oh my gosh, how beautiful to learn from a friend. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And we just like, I learned so much. And it just like really, yeah, it just like really set sound up in this way that's so exploratory to like take the mind out of it, not be like, I have to play this, then I have to play this. It's like, no, just like let the sound flow through. And I feel it every time that I give a sound bath. It's like also I feel like this receiving, that it's like I also am receiving this medicine, and I'm so grateful that it like just gets to flow through me and flow to others and just flow through all of us.
So good. Bailey actually said on our interview, when I interviewed her, she was sharing how we get to be like the instrument and how spirit pours through us. And that sounds so resonant to exactly what you're describing. I also did not know that Brianna mentored you, and that just makes me have heart flutters over that. It's just so beautiful, because the two of you have such a gift. And I think sound medicine is one of those things. It's like we are energy. And so to remind ourselves that in those frequency moments, those can be really healing, nourishing, grounding. And when we actually get to allow our bodies to rest and even receive as a recipient in one of your beautiful, workshops, or that in itself is just like being able to receive how you yourself is an incredible channel for spirit to move through you.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. And that was actually one of the things that we had talked about in this mentorship, because Brianna was telling me that our first experiences with sound are actually before we even have ears. It's in our mother's womb, and we feel the heartbeat, and we feel just like that is like what's resonating in our bones, and like we are like literally receiving sound through our bones.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's so powerful.
Yes. And so we think about these like resonant frequencies that like when we're in a sound bath and we just like feel it on a deep level that just like surpasses the mind. It's like, yeah, it's even surpassing our ears. We're like hearing this just like through our body and receiving it through our body.
And it's funny because even after like a sound bath, I've realized there's moments where I feel like I have to integrate after, because there's healing that's happening on a deeply cellular level. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that that's happening.
Right.
But it's happening.
Yeah.
You get to recalibrate.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So your practices have to be so near and dear to your heart because you're sharing all of this beautiful work with so many. So how do you care for yourself? What does your practice look like for self-care?
Yes. Ooh, well, one of my favorite things, it's like, I think I have multiple.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things is actually doing my nails. Because one of my favorite things about it is that I cannot do anything else but do my nails. It's like I cannot touch anything. I can barely walk anywhere because my toenails are wet. And it's just like something about things that just like demand your absolute focus and attention.
Oh, that's good.
Is just like that. And so on an energetic level, it's like on the physical level, it's doing my nails. But on an energetic level, meditation. I start every morning with meditation, and that is just such a space for me to like begin my morning with myself. Yeah. And it's like even before like words, except for like maybe to my cat.
But he always gets first word.
Exactly, always gets the first word. But it's just even before anything is like thought of, felt, that it's like I just get to drop in with myself and be like, where am I today? And yeah, that is my other favorite self-care.
So
same with yoga. I'm actually starting a 500-hour teaching.
Yeah, you are.
On Friday.
Woo-hoo!
So excited. And yeah, that is just, I feel like as I've been on this yoga journey and studying with my teacher, Raj, it's been just like my whole world has just opened up in so many ways of just like getting to know my body in ways I didn't even know were possible. It was like, I think that was one of my biggest learnings from when I did my first 300 hours of training was just like the way that everything was so used to going through my mind, and that there are so many things that actually can't. And it's like, as I was like learning to teach sequences, I was like, I've been reading this over and over. Why is it not sticking? And Raj was like, well, have you practiced? Like, have you moved your body with this? And I was like, well, I've been reading it every morning. He's like, you have to do it. Like at some point, your body knows. Your mind will forget, but your body knows.
That is, it's so funny. Like the innate wisdom our body holds. I think so often we think that our body doesn't know, but when we actually allow ourselves to even listen at a cellular level, when we allow our body to listen, even over our mind, we can hear things we wouldn't normally be able to hear.
Exactly. And it's like we also get messages that our brain can't interpret.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's just like we just get the feeling.
The feeling. I think even, I don't know about for you, but even when something feels out of alignment, I have an easier time feeling it in my body than I do when I'm thinking about something, because I so often want to trust everyone I really want to think that everyone has the best intentions for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I've been caught up in situations where I felt in my body like, I actually don't feel safe in this situation. And I've not listened to myself in certain moments. Now I've learned a little bit more, but it's fascinating that when we actually listen to our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to tune in to a lot more of what spirit has for us as far as what aligns for us.
And that's how it feels. It's like I cannot count the times that like I have a gut feeling.
Yes.
And if I like don't listen to it, it's like chaos ensues.
Chaos.
Literal chaos. Yeah.
Same.
And
Totally.
it's like my like stomach brain was telling me like, hello, there's some things that your mind brain are not picking up on. And yeah. It's just so interesting that we really do have these like different brains throughout our bodies. We have like our stomach brain, our heart brain, and then like our actual brain.
Our actual brain that gets in the way a little bit. We love you.
Yeah.
We love you. And also, the heart brain and the stomach brain are really, it's fascinating that also just our body holds so much.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of inner child wisdom and going back to anything that we've processed as children that have been like those moments that were traumatic for us, our bodies still remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I am so excited for you to go on that journey with your 500 hours. I have a feeling that it will just only enhance everything that you already know about how you connect with spirit and how you ground down into exactly who you are, your sweet sovereign self. And then also just this journey that you've been on with Black Moon, really, this course, this time for you to study couldn't come at a more perfect time.
I feel the same way. I really feel it. I feel like there's so many times in my life where it's like the second I start to question the timing, I actually am like, oh no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it wouldn't be any other way. Because, it's just meant to be. Yeah.
And you're investing the time that you were investing in another organization into yourself, which will in turn completely transform the lives of others because your heart is for service. So when your heart is for service, it's this constant reciprocity that you get to, receive and then also give back.
Yes. And I feel that it's like, it feels like a giving back to others and also back to myself.
Yeah.
It was like, we were talking about it earlier, just it's like, when am I going to make the decision to prioritize my own time and not just make the decision, but like commit to that decision? And that it's like when I take that time for self-care, when I make sure that in my mornings I have space to meditate, if I like have my like non-negotiables, that it's like, that is me making that decision to like truly commit to prioritizing what I want to prioritize, my self-care, my business, my relationships, and just like really being able to lean into that.
Totally. And how it all intertwines.
It all intertwines.
They're all connected, right?
Yeah. Truly.
And that care for self is always really it's the overarching theme of how we care for everything else.
Exactly.
One of my favorite quotes is, how we breathe is how we live. And it just reminds me of how our bodies interpret how we're feeling, because we were talking about this earlier too. When there's stagnancy or when you're feeling stressed or anxious, there's a tendency to like hold your breath. And rather, when we actually like let ourselves process and be and find the fluidity of just flowing through our day, there's more space to just let go, exhale. Let it be like yummy, long inhales, exhales, the whole bit, right?
Yeah. And it's like catching myself in those moments. It's always so illuminating and then also sometimes still shocking when I'm just like, what have I not been breathing for? Like, when was the last time I took a full, real, deep breath? And it's like, I'll just like almost like snap out of it, like answering an email that I'm like, wait, I haven't breathed. And why not? Like, what is setting off these things in my body that are like, hold your breath, conserve energy in that way instead of like actually like taking these breaths, taking this time to slow down, taking these moments to just like reconnect. Yeah, it is. It's always illuminating.
Truly. And it's surprising. I feel so often, because there are moments for myself and it's like, I'm a breathwork facilitator. I've taken many courses with learning about the breath, and yet even still I notice myself holding my breath. And so what does that say about our bodies, right? It's like there has to be this huge integration process of really learning what it feels like to be safe and feeling like we can have the spaciousness to let those breaths be.
Yeah. It also made me think what we were just talking about of like when our mind knows something, but we have to integrate it into the body, that it's like our mind knows all the things of like, of breath work, of knowing that it's important to breathe. But it's like, when it comes down to it, we got to remind our body of like, this is what we need. This is when we actually need to like slow down, invite breath. But it has to be automatic in a way that like, it doesn't get overwritten by burnout, by things that are just pulling our attention in a million directions. Yeah, it just has to be innate or learn to be innate.
Yeah, the pulling in different directions. I think we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And I think that that is something that so many of us in this society have a tendency to do. And when we spread our energy in multiple directions, we're then not pouring it potentially into what fills our cup. And so I'm curious if you would mind sharing a little bit about what the transition was like for you to, I know you touched on it a little bit, but if you could expand a little bit more on just what it was like for you to really make the concrete decision for you to no longer be working for someone else, to then transport your energy into just what is filling your cup, to then again share it with everyone who gets to be a part of your community.
Yeah, I think it really came from a place of overwhelm, that it was like I was just feeling so spread thin and like wanting to put my energy into all of these things, but then realizing like I can't, this is not sustainable to keep pouring my energy in all these different areas. And I just have to like make some decisions about where I want to direct my energy towards. And when I just like imagined leaning into late breakfast, leaning into Black Moon in these ways where I'm able to just let my creativity flow, let my ideas, let my mind, let everything flow. It just really felt like, that's where my next chapter is. And that was the other thing too, that in the transition, that it's like you said, it's been a month. And so I'm still very much in this transition. And feeling that it was like, I would look at my calendar and it would be like, I have this in the morning, this right here, this right here, this right here, this right here. And just like my day was so sectioned out because it was something I was so used to, of having to like compartmentalize like these big visions into like a 2-hour block that I had available one day. And I was like, what does it feel like to flip that around and like create all the spaciousness where I'm able to let those ideas and everything just like grow at their own pace. And that's where that spaciousness really, really came in. Yeah. But then I think the thing that's really been helping me through this transition has been this feeling of just like, what if I just set one goal for a day, and like, that is my goal. If I get more done, amazing. But my goal is just to get this one thing done. And then when I get that thing done, it's like I check off the one thing on my list, essentially. And it's just like, okay, now everything else can happen. Oh, look at all this time that I have, when I wasn't trying to like smush it into this little time block. And it just feels been a really spacious way to just really help in that transition, because it's been like, there's so many things that I'm like, I legitimately need to do a lot of things. But then it's also like, they will happen at their own time, and just like really releasing that urgency that's been so woven into me.
Yes. And that too is a part of the refinement process, right? Like your body is learning what it feels like to be safe as an entrepreneur. You're creating this dream that you've envisioned for yourself for so long. And you've been doing both for so long. You were doing both things. Yes, you were managing late breakfast, Black Moon, and also doing this job where you're working for an organization and spreading yourself real thin. And now it's this beautiful opportunity for you to disperse the energy to really what fills your cup. And then we get to just see all the little seeds that are going to be planted amidst winter. And really, like, this is the time for these seeds to be planted, for you to, like, relearn how to move at a different pace.
Yes, that is exactly it. And it's like learning to move at my own pace, which I think has been the, like, biggest learning, and that, like, feeling safe to move at my own pace, because I realize I am someone who likes to move slow. It's been really nice to just, like, honor that and not, like, feel like I need to actually rush that or rush myself. And that's where, like, my inner child comes back in too, because she was used to rushing and it felt very normal. And unlearning that just feels like this deep, deep unraveling where it's like I can actually move at my own pace and I can take my time with things, and trusting in the delay, trusting that if I don't finish everything in one day, it wasn't actually meant to happen in one day, and that's okay. Yeah.
Trusting in the delay. I love that. I think that, it's amazing what capitalism can breed in someone's body. And just the socialization that takes place in the minds of US citizens. I mean, we really are, like, taught from such a young age that this is how it needs to be. And so many of us are coming to the understanding of, like, this is not how it needs to be. And we really want to write a new story.
Yeah. I realized just the, like, force that urgency immediately demands. That it's like, this has to happen now. And that feeling of, like, even if it's not said, it's just like the energy around it that is felt. It's like when the body is the body is hearing what's going on, even if the mind is like, can't this wait till tomorrow? The body's like, I'm feeling the urgency, I'm feeling the stress, I don't have time to breathe. And just feeling that.
Totally. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because lately, so much of the permission that I've been providing myself is when I'm feeling like even the slightest bit of overwhelm, I'm like, drop to the floor, lay on your back, and literally just breathe deep. And that's just been so sweet. And I do it a lot throughout the day. Probably more than... It's so funny because it's like something that I necessarily wouldn't... It's like there's nothing that I need to be ashamed of.
Right.
Because sometimes when you're in these seasons and you're integrating new ways of being, it's so important to remind your body, no, it's okay. You are safe, but I'm going to teach you that we can be safe.
Yes. It's also like, there's definitely a difference between knowing the practices that help you move through overwhelm and actually doing the practices. Because I was having that thought the other day. It was like kind of this, like, conversation with myself where I was like, okay, you know what to do. You know what to do when you feel this, but it's either you making the conscious or unconscious decision to do or not to do that. And that was a really big wake-up call for myself, just to really feel that, knowing that it's like, I know that taking a moment to breathe, I know that taking a moment to meditate will help bring me to a more grounded and more regulated space. But whether I choose to do that, that's a conscious decision. And when I don't decide to do that, that is a conscious decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially because we know, like, as people who practice this work, as people who have made a conscious decision to be aware of these things, like, we know. I mean, there's moments where like I'll be feeling shitty and I'll be like, I'm going to watch TV. Probably not the best move, but that's what I'm going to do, you know? And it's like, sometimes it's like those unconscious decisions are also what leads you towards like, yeah, okay, I needed to trip over myself again to like, no, yeah, that wasn't the move.
Right.
I don't know. For me, I have to like learn the hard way. Sometimes many times over. You know, it's like breaking out of those patterns. And for so many of us who are doing this work, who are making these conscious decisions, this is like breaking these generational curses / patterns, whatever you would call them. Like, our families have been doing X, Y, and Z for generations. And so when we're the way showers of these new ways, we need to be patient with ourselves, that things can take time.
Exactly. And that, that
is.
Yes. Because that was part of this, like, the thought train that I was having the other day, that it's like, and it wasn't even in like a self-blame way. It was more that I was just like, on a conscious or unconscious level, I am choosing overwhelm because I'm organizing my schedule in a way. I'm not saying no when I actually need to. I'm squeezing things in because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And it was that feeling that's like, I am choosing this. And to like even feel that without judgment, because I feel like that could go either way.
Totally.
But like but to feel it like really deeply without judgment and just be like, I am choosing this. And I also now have the choice to not choose this because I've like let myself see the way that I've been like operating and been choosing to operate, whether I realize it or not.
I heard that. I heard that. This week, I have consciously chosen to overextend myself. Just with scheduling. Today, I made the conscious decision to ask a friend if we could reschedule a thing that was scheduled for this week. And even still, it feels like more than maybe I'm used to. So it's like, okay, I made the decision. I made a little bit more space. And I'm not going to do this again. At least until I do it again. You know? And it's just giving myself the grace and the understanding of, okay, I'm recognizing. At least I'm recognizing.
Exactly.
This doesn't feel good.
Right.
To like overextend myself because I don't need to do it.
That is so, I feel that so much because there's something as I was like really like sitting with this with myself, I was like realizing that there is something in me that thought that I was supposed to feel that way. And it was like, I was like having flashbacks to remembering just being overwhelmed because I had a lot of homework, and then I also had dance practice, and it was like,
whoa,
it's like remembering like from when I was like 8 of like I remember this feeling, and like this feeling has like been in me for longer than I've realized. And it's just like feeling into that and recognizing that like this isn't a new pattern, didn't start with me either, that I'm able to really see it and just really be with it.
I felt that one for sure. It's so funny. There's these moments in time, and you just brought like a feeling up for me that I got to see and feel into, that I get to go sit and feel with later. It's funny when you have the remembrance of these moments of feeling like you're always rushing as a child and not knowing then that it's not necessarily like not your fault. Right? Like our parents did the best they could with the tools that they had, thinking that these busy schedules were somehow supporting us to be more well-rounded individuals, because that's what society had taught them to think was what made us well-rounded individuals, when really oftentimes it's having more space to figure out who we are. And so now recovering those deep wounded places of knowing that it wasn't learned, like, with ill intent.
Right, exactly. Because that really is how society just keeps it all rolling. Because it's like, when I think about it, yeah, it did help me. These busy schedules did help me get into college. It helped me get into grad school. It did help me get a job. But it's like realizing the other side of it, where it's like, okay, but that was really stressful.
Yeah.
And it definitely set me in this mindset, or rather, like, I had been in this mindset of like, I have to do this to do this. I have to do this to do this. And just like always kind of doing something for the next thing to come through. And yeah, it definitely, it's a deep one. It's a deep pattern to untangle.
Certainly. And I think so many of us have felt the aftermath of that symptom, which is feeling like we're often not enough. And so there's this there's like this whole process that we get to reparent ourselves and feeling like we're the enough that we are, like really feeling into it and knowing why we're enough. And so that's really important, and also not easy, because it's felt, again, it's felt at a cellular level.
Definitely.
So I'm curious, you have late breakfast, you have Black Moon. What is your dream and vision for folks who you get to work with to kind of incorporate this and all the other beautiful gifts that you share with folks? Like, what is your dream for them to be able to, feel embodied in this way that's holistic for self-care, and how they can embolden themselves to take care of themselves?
Yes, I was rewriting my why the other day, which was so fun. It was fun just to like get this new clarity, especially in this like space that I'm in, of just really reimagining all that late breakfast and Black Moon can be. And one of the things that really came through is that I want all of my clients to deeply celebrate themselves. And when I felt into that, it's like, that means like knowing your worth. That means forgiving yourself for past things and not letting those like make you think that you're a bad person, or like, yeah, just holding you back from really being able to be you. And that, like, celebrating yourself deeply just really felt like this way that you can just see all parts of yourself, and then also just love all parts of yourself. And so that's what it's just my hope for all of my clients.
That's your vision.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful vision. I think when you cultivate that and like put that as a part of your mission, that's just an incredible foundation to be creating new life from.
Exactly.
Like, you planted good seeds.
Yes. It's like I went through this, it's not as conscious anymore, but I won't even call it a phase. It just went through a time in the past like couple months where I stopped saying like treat yourself, because I feel like I felt that treat yourself meant that I didn't deserve it. And that I could actually just like have the things that I want and know that I deserve them and know that they are meant for me, without having to be like, oh, I'll treat myself and get this little coffee. It's like, no, I deserve this coffee. I've been working hard. And just being able to like really feel that, and like doing that exercise in self-worth, that it's like, I deserve this and I am worthy of this. And it doesn't have to be a treat, because that feels very like, oh, here's this like little thing. It's like, no, I get to celebrate myself in this way, even if it's just with a little chai tea latte.
No more dangling carrots.
Exactly. No more dangling carrots.
Yeah. Sometimes when you just want something too, I think it's also just this incredible practice of pleasure, right? Like, as women, I think we've societally, like as a society, we've had a tendency to not embrace what it feels like to be in our pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And celebrating what it feels like to feel good.
Right. Exactly.
Like, we're allowed to feel good.
Exactly. And just knowing that we're allowed to, we deserve to.
Yeah.
We have every reason to. Yes.
Yes. And that's really, I think that, you know, even just candles for me are this beautiful celebration of self-care. And I remember being like this, like, cheesy, like, cute gif or whatever on Instagram. It's like, I'm not like only lighting like my least favorite candles. Like, I'm lighting the fancy candles, you know? And it's like, yes, I am, you know, because you have those candles. I'm sure you've bought a candle before that's a little bit more expensive and you only light it sometimes.
Yeah, I light it for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Just a little bit, and then I'm like, because I want to save you. You were expensive. And it just reminds me of also just like what you're curating as an artist, as a candle, like you're making candles, and candles are such a form to me of self-care.
Yes, same.
And so it's like this, I don't know, it's just this incredible cycle of how you can care for yourself in a holistic way, where it's all linked to pleasure and knowing how to feel good in your body, and reminding yourself that it's safe to feel good in your body.
It's so true. And it's so, I love how you equated that to candles. That's literally how I feel as well. That it's something about this small joy of just changing the scent of my space, even just lighting a candle to start something.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm starting to work on this thing. Let me just light this candle and let it be this like almost like commencing.
Yes.
They just hold so much, and that's why I love them. It's like even just like the simplest like vanilla candle can just bring so much joy. So much.
Yeah, it's a ceremonial act of ritual, really. It really sparks ritual. I mean, let's be real. Like, you know, it's thinking about the witches and it's like, what do you associate? I think so many people, like, you associate, like, witchcraft in some sense or another with, like, there's candles involved in some type of, like, frame of reference that you have towards witchcraft, whatever it may be. Candles are involved, but witches make magic, so we're here for it. Yes, I'm so excited to see what comes. I know it's all going to be so very beautiful. I know that you just really started planting new roots into the new space at Black Moon. Can you share a little bit about that and really what you are hoping for, dreaming for, and envisioning for in that space as months kind of go on?
Yeah, I just see it being this space of absolute self-care, just in all the ways. This was a dream that Des and I had literally in 2022 was when we first met. And we had known each other for 4 months when we first got this space. We had gotten together. We like met at our friend's party, and we're just like, we like didn't end up actually talking to each other until the very end, and like we exchanged numbers and like, okay, cool, let's go get drinks. And we hung out for 9 hours just talking about our goals, our dreams, the things that we want to create. And we both like, we just want this space where BIPOC folks can just heal together, where people can just people just come and heal, self-care, all the ways. And then I found the space going to get cat food. Literally drove by it, and it was one of those moments where I'd seen the sign so many times. And I looked and was like, I feel like one of the signs on this sign is missing. Let me look on their website and see if they have any vacancies. And we sent an email. They're like, yes, come see it. And at the time, there was just this one space, and then there was this lobby, and they're like, we're actually turning this lobby into another room. Would you be interested in it for like 150 more? And we were like, Yes, like absolutely. And we have just been growing it ever since. That was such just a leap of faith, a leap of trust for both of us, because our landlords were like, how long have you guys been working together? And we're like, we've actually never worked on anything together in our lives. We actually just met like 3 months ago. And it's been 2 years. And here we are. We're expanding. We have another space that we are taking over in the downstairs, and we're making into a shop and just a space where we can have classes, sound baths, gatherings, just all the things. And it's so beautiful just to feel the way that the space is welcoming it. Like, we had this experience earlier today, even. This light randomly went out, and then we finished doing all the organizing, all the painting, and then we like went to hit the light switch, and it turned back on after like 4 days. It's like, oh, we're just waiting. You're just waiting for the space to be complete.
I like you now.
Yeah. You can turn this light on. We can see clearly now.
I'll let you see now because you look cute.
Yes.
The space looks cute, so I'll turn on now.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yes, but that's literally how the space has been. It's just been this, like, you can just feel the energy in it and the energy that it's, like, calling in. And I just feel it, too. This growing collective that we're making. It's just, we have healers, makers, we got nails, braids, literally self-care in all the ways. Massage, energy healing. I'm like, all the things.
Gosh. Dream space.
Yes, it's just like a one-stop shop for self-care on all the levels.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's incredible.
Yes.
And it's, I think so often when we look at spirituality, there's a tendency to like get really caught up in here and here, like our hearts. And also, like, the physical body, like, yeah, it's been a big part of our conversation today, but it's, like, even just, like you said, like, getting your hair done.
Yeah.
Getting your nails done.
Yes.
Like, making yourself feel good. Like, just, like, physically, somatically. Like, how can you just take care of this thing how it feels good for you? Like, and so keeping it so that this collective really incorporates all of it is just so good.
It's so good
because it all belongs. It all belongs.
It really does. And it's all just part of it. It's like self-care doesn't look one way for anyone.
No.
Even for myself from day to day. And so just holding space for however self-care wants to come through.
Yes.
To be like, yes, it is welcome here. And you can find that here also.
Yeah.
It feels really cool.
Creating the flexibility, right? Because like each day does look different. I don't know about you, but like sometimes I don't want to like get up and do yoga. Sometimes I want to get up and do like, I don't know, maybe like some cardio or like sometimes I just want to dance in the morning. Like sometimes the self-care practice can look different from moment to moment. So having a space that gives people that flexibility, I think is really incredible.
Yeah, it's truly a dream come true.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for taking the initiative to create more space and more energy for your passions and purpose to move.
Yes.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be so good. It already is.
It already is. It is. And it's like, you know, the seeds that you're planting and that you already have planted, there's already blooms. And just to see this garden continue to grow is going to be such a joy for me. And I'm just really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting. And just like feeling just all the love and support from my community, from my friends, from family. It's just like, it's all the confirmation that it's like this is the path. Yes. Yeah.
Can you share where people can find you and how they can work with you?
Yes. So I'm on Instagram at Late Breakfast PDX. My website is also latebreakfastpdx.com. And ways to work with me, it is all expanding.
Ever evolving.
Yes, ever evolving. So inner child sessions. I also do corporate sound baths, workshops, community workshops, yoga classes, a little bit of everything. And it's just been really it's really been really exciting just to feel the ways that I don't need to commit to doing one thing, that this journey can be ever evolving, it can be ever changing, and just knowing that what is coming through is what's meant to. And yeah, it's just been really exciting to work with my clients in similar ways of just like, what is the medicine that you're calling for right now, and how can I support you in that?
Yeah. You're multifaceted, and so is everybody else. So like, I think it's really beautiful when people who are working in this holistic atmosphere have more than just one thing to, not that we don't, we all have more than one thing to offer.
Yeah.
And also learning and studying and being a student to these things.
Yes.
To then share them with others is pretty sweet.
Yes. One of the ways that I've been evolving for quite a while has been combining photo sessions and healing as well. So doing like inner child shoots that we like design with your inner child. And that's been just a really fun way to pave this connection, because I've done photography since I was in high school, and it's just always been a love of mine. And I'm like, something is so healing about just like allowing myself to feel seen in that way, and seeing others in that way. They can like look back at their photos and be like, oh my gosh, that's me. I did that. Yes.
I can speak to that. The first time that I had like a real session done, when I felt more empowered, I should say, like I felt like I was embodying my true self. I remember feeling uncomfortable at first with my session, and the photographer is a good friend of mine, and she was like, all right, this is like more than like, let's break this down. What's going on here? Yeah. And it really is like a spiritual practice. It is. Because you're being seen. Right. So
you're allowing yourself to feel seen. And also just like, I feel like sometimes I'll have like an image of like what I think I look like in my head, and I see the picture and I'm like blinking and like my eyes closed. And being like, yeah, it's perfect too. Even just like feeling into that of not having to be like, I have to look a certain way, like I have to have every shot be perfect. It's like, no, you get to blink, you get to be mid-word, you get to be mid-yawn, anything. All the things that come through in a photo session.
I get a little like double chin action sometimes, or like a little weird chin thing going on. It's like, it's what you look like sometimes.
For me, it's like literally, I just see a camera shutter, and it's like the second I hear the click, it's like my eyes are always closed. Most pictures of me, my eyes are like,
that's so funny. Blink. Oh my gosh. Okay. One final question for you. Yes. If you had some slice of wisdom that you would be willing to share with our listeners that feels resonant for you and all that you've learned through your experience, what would it be?
I had this message come to me in meditation the other day that a butterfly doesn't question their wingspan once they leave the chrysalis. And it just really sunk in so deeply that it's when you're in this state of transformation, when you're in that gooey, what am I doing? What is happening? What are my next steps? When you're in that, trust when you feel the leap coming. Because it's like, if you're a butterfly, you leave the chrysalis, you're like, I can fly now. And no one can tell you otherwise. And just really embodying that of, as you're in the transformation, you don't have to be done with the transformation. Just be in it, honor yourself within it, and trust yourself that you will know when you're ready.
So good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here with me today, and for me being here with you. Thank you for making me do it.
Yeah, so fun.
So much love. So much love to you. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Hey there, it's Danae again. Just wanted to say thank you for sharing your time and energy with me. If this podcast resonates, please like, subscribe, follow, and share if you're willing. Reviews help too, so if you're feeling the vibe, please leave a review where you can. Sending all the love. Peace.